With a victory, where do you think this puts you in line?
Of course, the next for the title shot. Yeah, Islam. I think Islam and Ian gonna fight in August, and I'm gonna get the winner.
And what was your thoughts on Jack Della's performance against Islam, and what did you take away?
Islam is the GOAT right now, you know. He's a two-weight division champ, really good wrestling, so it's hard to fight him. You know, I didn't watch too much that fight. I was there, but I didn't watch too much. But it is what it is. Islam is really good.
I saw the guy Carlos Prates. He eat Nutella cake in the lunchtime, you know, in the fight week. It's some things I never do, you know, and I understand I bigger than this guy, you know. I don't touch anything, other things which one the nutrition team give me, and I still have to cut much, you know.
I'm blown away by what I just witnessed. I am blown away by what I just witnessed from Carlos Prates. Carlos Prates just systematically broke Jack Della Maddalena. That was one of his best performances, if not his best performance as a UFC fighter. He looked unbelievable in Perth earlier this morning. That was the best version of Carlos, and this is a guy who's looked great in his last two fights. Stopping Leon Edwards was tremendous, but what he did to Jack Della.
What an absolute masterclass we just witnessed. Carlos Prates didn't just win, he systematically dismantled Jack Della Maddalena. This wasn't just another performance, it was his magnum opus in the UFC, showcasing a level of skill and composure we haven't seen from the Nightmare before. JDM is a top contender, yet Prates made him look ordinary, breaking him down methodically. This isn't just a win. It's a statement that reverberates across the welterweight division, screaming that a new force has arrived, and he's not just here to compete, but to dominate and chase gold. This is the kind of destruction that catapults a fighter into the title conversation immediately.
In Perth, how good he looked on his feet. There was a moment in between the second and third rounds in which Jack Della's team told him that Carlos was getting really, really tired. I saw none of that. He looked amazing on his feet. His boxing looked amazing. His striking looked amazing. Everything looked amazing. And truth be told, that fight could have been ended a lot sooner. Looked like he injured Jack's leg. And there's also another moment that has stuck with me where in between the first and second round, Jack tells his corner something about his leg being hurt. And the corner says, you just have to forget about it. In so many words, I'm paraphrasing.
You heard it from his corner. They thought Prates was fading, but he looked anything but. His boxing, his striking, his movement, everything was phenomenal, showing no signs of slowing down. And let's be real. This fight could have ended a lot sooner. The whispers of JDM's injured leg, the corner's instruction to forget about it, they paint a picture of Prates inflicting serious damage early. This isn't just about winning rounds. It's about breaking an opponent's spirit and body. When a fighter's corner is telling them to ignore an injury just to stay in the fight, you know they're in there with a different kind of problem, and that problem is Carlos Prates.
Carlos Prates is for real. And he just seemed to be in great spirits. He had his mom there. What a scene afterwards. His daughter there. He said earlier this week that his mom and daughter being at this fight meant so much to him. First time that they were at one of his fights together. And it just seemed like he was, moving and grooving. I guess the demise of the fighting nerds was a little bit exaggerated because when you produce performances like that, you are very much in play in any weight class. He noted that there's never been a Brazilian.
Carlos Prates is not just for real, he's a star in the making. Seeing him with his mom and daughter, who were at his fight for the first time, truly added to the moment. This wasn't just another fight, it was personal, monumental. He came in fueled by that support, and he delivered. That declaration that there's never been a Brazilian 170-pound champion and I am going to be the first one. That's not just confidence, that's a prophecy. That's a direct call to the throne, not just for a shot, but a certainty. He's not asking, he's declaring his intent, and with a performance like that, who are we to argue?
Islam Makhachev and Ian Machado Gary are going to fight. Now, that is not officially announced, but as I've said on the show all week long, that's the plan, that's the direction, that's where we're headed. So we've got an amazing stretch of numbered events coming up. Obviously, next week, Sean Strickland against Khamzat Chimaev, June 14th, White House, July 11th, Conor McGregor, Max Holloway, and then August, I think it's the 15th in Philly, 333. Should be Islam versus Ian Gary. Now, I said on Twitter right after the fight,
Prates knows exactly what's happening at the top. He referenced the planned Islam Makhachev versus Ian Gary fight, which, while not officially announced, is the clear direction for the welterweight title. This isn't a random call-out. It's a strategic move, positioning himself as the next logical challenger after that colossal August showdown. The UFC is lining up a stacked calendar, and Prates has just thrown his name right into the thick of the championship narrative. He's not just eyeing the winner. He's telling everyone, including Islam, that the next man up for the belt after Gary is him.
Ian Machado Gary, Islam Makhachev, Carlos Prates, Michael Morales. Now, like, as I'm recording this, it's 5 minutes after I tweeted that, and the immediate reaction seemed to have been, are you insane? Give Carlos either the next title shot, like literally next, or he's the number one contender. Now, let me explain. He's not going to be next because it's going to be Ian next. I'm totally fine with him waiting. But let's say Islam wins.
Immediately after his win, the MMA world erupted with calls for Prates to get the next title shot, or at least be the number one contender. My tweet outlining a path for him, with Islam and Ian Gary next, was met with, "Are you insane?" The excitement is palpable. Everyone sees what I see, a legitimate threat. While Ian Gary is likely next for Islam, the sentiment that Prates deserves a direct path to gold is undeniable. It speaks volumes about the impact of his performance against JDM. Fans are already pushing past the logical cue, demanding to see Prates challenge for the belt sooner rather than later.
He fights typically once every 9 to 12 months. So does that mean we're not going to see Carlos Prates? If he fights in August, then the soonest he's coming back is what? April, May? And now we're talking, I don't know when Ramadan is. So we're not going to see Carlos for a year? After a performance like that, that's where my thinking comes from. Let's not forget what Michael Morales did against Sean Brady in November. He has yet to fight. Does he fight someone else? Like, let me look at the rankings here real quick. Maybe he's going to fight on that August card too.
Here's the tricky part. Islam Makhachev's fight schedule. He typically fights once every 9 to 12 months. If he fights Ian in August, that means Carlos Prates could be sidelined for almost a year after a career-defining performance. That's a long time for a fighter on such a hot streak to stay on ice. My thinking comes from wanting to keep that momentum rolling. Do we risk Prates losing his it factor by waiting, or do we find him an opponent like Michael Morales, who's also an exciting prospect, to solidify his contender status and keep him active? The path to the title needs to stay hot for the nightmare.
I think Prates versus Morales is an amazing fight. It's the perfect number one contender fight. As of right this moment, Morales is 3, Prates is 5, but Jack Della was 1, so you would expect Prates to move up. I don't know, man. Prates versus Morales in the fall as a number one contender fight, and the winner fights Islam versus Ian, and you've got an amazing backstory there between Ian and Prates. And then obviously if Islam wins, that's a great, fun, fresh matchup. If Morales wins, the judo against Islam, or even if Ian, by the way, if Ian wins, you'd have to expect Islam's going to get an immediate rematch. That's why I say keeping him on ice is a little bit tricky. But I understand after a performance like that.
A matchup between Carlos Prates and Michael Morales as a number one contender fight in the fall makes absolute sense. With JDM previously at 1, Prates is set to climb significantly. This would be a blockbuster fight, producing a clear challenger for the Islam versus Ian winner. Imagine the narratives. Prates potentially facing Ian Gary again, but this time with a title shot on the line and a dramatically different skill set. Or a fresh, exciting challenge against Islam. While keeping him on ice might be tricky due to potential immediate rematches if Ian wins, a fight like Prates versus Morales keeps the division vibrant and ensures the best contender gets their shot without unnecessary delays.
A year ago, almost exactly to the day, Carlos Prates fought Ian Gary. This was a dramatically different human being in the cage in Perth against Jack Della. Dramatically different. I mean, completely different. He looked unbelievable. He was outstanding. Can't say enough good things about how he looked. And for Jack Della, you know, you don't want to attribute the performance to the Islam fight, but he did not seem like the Jack Della who was rising up until the Bilal fight, post-Bilal fight, going into the Islam fight. It was a different version of him. It just seemed like he had no answers.
If you compare the Carlos Prates who fought Ian Gary a year ago to the one who stepped into the cage against Jack Della Maddalena, it's like watching two entirely different human beings. This transformation is staggering. He's not just improved, he's evolved into a truly elite fighter. On the other side, JDM, a fighter who was on an undeniable rise, didn't look himself. You hate to speculate, but perhaps the weight of the Islam callout, the pressure, or something else simply meant he couldn't find answers for the incredible force that Prates brought. This was truly a different, superior version of the nightmare.
Wow. I am at a loss for words for just how good Carlos Prates looked. That was an unbelievable performance, and it's either one more or he's next. Nothing else. He's very fun. He's likable. He's exciting. He's entertaining in and out of the cage. His interviews are amazing. His personality is infectious. What more can you say about Carlos Prates? The nightmare. Golly, he's put it all together. I feel equally as excited, but obviously for different reasons and they're different levels, about Quillen Salkeld.
I'm genuinely at a loss for words for how magnificent Carlos Prates looked. This performance has put him firmly in the conversation for either one more fight or he's next for the title. There's no other option. Beyond his skill, his personality is infectious. He's fun, likable, exciting, and entertaining both inside and outside the cage. His interviews are compelling, and he exudes an energy that draws fans in. The Nightmare isn't just a phenomenal fighter, he's the complete package, a superstar on the rise who has truly put it all together. The welterweight division just got a whole lot more exciting.
But I just wanted to come on here and talk about that. That was amazing stuff from Carlos Prates. The Nightmare is living a dream right now because he is on a roll. The question is, will he be next or will he have to fight one more? Wouldn't hate either option. As I've laid it out, I feel like he should fight one more just to keep the vibes rolling, man. I mean, he is just on fire. It's going to be very hard to, obviously Islam with the ground game is a whole different level, but for everyone else to beat that guy, that is not the guy who fought Ian Machado Gary about a year ago. That is not the same dude. Shout out to him. Well done. Congrats.
Carlos Prates, the Nightmare, is living a dream right now, and he's absolutely on a roll. The burning question remains, does he get the next title shot, or does he need one more fight to solidify his claim? I personally lean towards one more, just to keep that incredible momentum surging. What he showed against JDM was a completely different beast than the one who fought Ian Gary a year ago. That transformation is not just physical, it's a mental and strategic leap. While Islam's ground game presents a unique challenge, the current iteration of Prates is a nightmare for almost anyone else in that division. He has truly arrived,